everyone, welcome back to Fit by Habit. Today I have a small video called Becoming Friends with the Plank. It's not going to be like, maybe I promised a little bit much in that title. It's not going to be like, a really long video where we just do a lot of different variations of the plank where you can find, maybe modification that suits you, but it's more like one of those small technical videos where I show you some things you should pay attention to. You might already know it, but here you get to practice it and become more acquainted with it and maybe even friends with it, So one of the most important things in plank, there are two major things to consider when you're in a full plank, is your hand positioning or your arm positioning in general, and in terms of your hips, your booty, your pelvis, all of that. So kind of like how you align your body. And you probably know this, but here's a few tips for you. So in terms of your hands, I've talked a lot about my hand positioning in the other small technical videos I have, but it's because it's so important with the shoulders, the wrists, the hands, so we don't get any injuries, it doesn't hurt, because as I say, workout training, all of that exercising should definitely get you sore, but it shouldn't hurt. Soreness the next day in the muscles, that's what we want. No pain. There's a difference between being sore and being in pain. No pain. Okay. So, in terms of your hands, as I've said many times before, what you need to think about is when you place your hand on the mat, it should be directly under your shoulder. Like this, and then spread out your fingers. That's very important too. So spread out your fingers, and as much as you press down with the root of your hand, press as much with your fingertips. You're actually creating a little bit of a hole inside the palm here. So you're not pushing down on your hand like that. It's more like a grip with the hand. So think about that. Good. Let's start with, an exercise in Pilates that's called leg pull front, or the prep version is the box. I say a lot of times this video, I'm sorry. So try to stay here on all fours, so hands directly under your shoulders and knees directly under your hips. Now place your toes into the mat. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lift the knees up, just so you get a feeling of those hands and arms here. So inhale, stay here, and exhale, lift the knees up just a little bit off the floor, doesn't have to be much. Now, again, do as I said, press as much with the root of your hands as with your fingertips. Keep a slight bend in your elbows, don't lock them completely out, but don't bend them all the way down, so just a slight bend in your elbow, okay? And think about your shoulders, don't fall down to your shoulder. Lift your chest bone up. Really lift up into those shoulders. Separate the shoulder blades even a little bit. Then you're stabilized in your shoulders and it helps on your wrists. Okay, stay here on an inhale and exhale, lower your knees down. Okay, so that was just for you to get a feeling of the arms. Let's do it again just for practice. This is a practice video. So, ready? So think about all those things I said. Spread your fingers, press into your fingertips and the root of your hand. Lift your chest bone up. I know I talk a lot. Sound like a broken record, but that's okay. Inhale, stay here. And exhale, lift those knees up. And really just focus on your hands here. You can even, maybe this is not the point of the exercise, but don't think too much about the backside of your body right now. Think about your hands and your shoulders and your elbows, your fingers, everything here. Your core, lift up in your core, tighten your core. Inhale, stay here, and exhale, lower down. Good. You can roll out those wrists. It gets hard on the wrists. Good. What we're going to talk about now is the placement of the lower body. So we'll start with the knee version. So you take your hands should still be kind of like, directly on your shoulders, maybe a little bit back. That's no, but as long as they're not here. So maybe your shoulders are a little bit behind your hands, but not much. They should be directly on your shoulders perfectly. Now, in terms of your hips here, we don't want to see, this where you're sagging all the way down. You don't want to lift the booty up too much. So, you should find that alignment here. So tighten your abs, tilt your pelvis a little bit, forward. What is that? Is that an anterior or posterior tilt? I'm not really sure. But tilt your hips a little bit, tilt your pelvis a little bit forward. Good. So that's the knee version of a plank. Now place your toes into the mat here. And now think about your legs kind of like a Swiss knife. So you're just folding up your legs here and then you're in the plank. So think about those things. Tightening in the abs. Tilt your pelvis a little bit forward. And then come up. And now you're in a perfect plank because you're not lifted up here. And you're not, can barely lift up here. You're here. So tighten your abs. Tilt the pelvis under. Still thinking about all those things happening in your hands, in your shoulders, your elbows, everything. So here is the perfect plank. It's hard, I know. Good. Come down, sit and relax. So that is the things to think about. So especially, when I'm in a plank, you don't have to do it now. But when I'm in a plank, I really tend to focus maybe more on my hands and stuff. So I start to do something weird with my hips and stuff. But think about that. Okay, pulling that pelvis under or forward and lifting up in my chest bone and tightening those abs. So it should be, very active pose. So here, even squeezing my butt together, my butt, and squeezing my abs together like this. Okay, and then again, if it's still too hard, I'm just gonna come up here for you. You can totally, separate the legs a little bit, take the legs apart. It makes it easier. You're stabilizing the base a little bit more. Together is more hard. Okay. Now there is one more hand positioning because there is also, the elbow plank. That is definitely the most challenging, I think. I feel more stable on my hands. But let's try to do that together. So let's go onto your elbows. How you place your hands, I don't really care. As long as your elbows are, directly under your shoulders. Again. Then your hands can be flat on the ground like this. You can make fist. You can also, hold your hands in prayer if that's what you need. Now, okay, so let's do the knee version first. So inhale here, and then lift up into that plank here. So still, I'm tilting my pelvis a little bit forward again. Still lifting up from the chest bone, so I'm not falling down into my shoulders, even though I'm not on my hands. Toes in the mat, and let's come up to the full plank. So again, still tightening in my abs, squeezing my butt. Everything is working here. Everything is keeping me stable here. Okay? And don't lift up in those hips. Keep them down, keep them down. Tilt that hip. Think about tilting that pelvis. That really helps keeping the hips down. Okay, inhale here. Exhale, lower down. And come up to sit. Good, that was really good. Even though this was a very small video, mostly talking about technical, I think it broke a little bit sweat. But that's great. That's what we're here for. But so this was not like kind of a huge miracle wonders working video. This is just those few technical cues to think about, some focus points when you're in the plank to pay attention to, and then you'll as you go through the exercises work out more and more. If you focus on these few cues here, one day you'll be able to do the plank without really thinking about it. You're just doing it because you're strengthening your body the right way. So thank you very much. for today, and I'll see you next time on the mat. Bye.